Welcome back to Askewed Reviews. And since the new 28 Years Later movie just came out, I'm doing trivia reviews for the other two. I've already done the first one, so now I'm reviewing the 2007 film 28 Weeks Later. Here's your trivia question for today. What feature does Andy and his mother share? The answer will be at the end of this episode. So, in the film 28 Weeks Later, we pick up, 28 weeks after the events of the first film. The story starts off at a farmhouse in the middle of nowhere, where a group of survivors are now trying to keep themselves barricaded within as they're trying to enjoy a meal. All of a sudden, a small boy begins banging on the door, requesting to be let in. After a bit, he is let in, but this causes an issue as the infected have been chasing him and are now breaking into the home. One of our main characters, Don, does manage to escape, but unfortunately for his wife, he left her behind. Don manages to get to a boat and flee from the infected. The story then jumps ahead a little bit, as certain cities have been cleared out and are now under military control and supposedly safe from infection. It's in one of these locations that we catch up with Don, and we see that his children are allowed back into the country. However, though, this family soon discovers that their mother is actually still alive and is bringing something back with her. Things end up going really bad for Don, and now the infection is back within the city. The military that controls this area decides that it is no longer viable and is now set for destruction. So now the children, two soldiers, and a few other survivors are trying to not only get past the infected, but also the military before the city is destroyed. This movie was directed and co-written by Juan Carlos Fresnadillo. Robert Carlyle plays the character of Don, and if you didn't watch the video I did on the first film, then you may not know that he was originally going to play the character of the Major that went to Christopher Eccleston in the first movie. I had completely forgotten how many well-known actors and actresses appear in this movie, including Rose Byrne as Scarlett. Jeremy Renner plays the character of Doyle, and if you weren't aware of this, he's actually an homage to the director of the first film, Danny Boyle, and Doyle is just a mashup of his name. Idris Elba plays the character of Stone. Harold Perrineau plays Flynn. Catherine McCormick plays Alice. And Imogen Poots plays Tammy. All of the actors that portrayed the infected in this film had backgrounds in either gymnastics, dance, or mime. The musical score used when Don changes was the same one used when Frank changed in the first film. The farmhouse used in the beginning of the film was also used in the movies Children of Men and Never Let Me Go. The stadium shown at the end of the movie was supposed to be Wembley Stadium, but because at that time it was under construction, it ended up being the Millennium Stadium instead in Cardiff. The very last scene, which is shown in Paris, was not in the original script, but added in. The original concept for the sequel was not the movie that we see today. In fact, the sequel was going to be called 29 Days Later, and it would have actually starred Jim, Selena, and Hannah, and also brought back Danny Boyle and Alex Garland. Now, the reason why this didn't happen is because Danny Boyle and Cillian Murphy were already working on the movie Sunshine, and Naomi Harris was working on Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. Apparently, for the original script for the film 28 Weeks Later, Scarlett was actually going to be the one who got burnt while pushing the car, and Doyle was going to be the one beaten to death by Don in the subway. Director Danny Boyle felt it worked better the other way around, and I wholeheartedly agree with him. This movie was filmed in England and France. So when it comes to the film 28 Weeks Later, I do like this one. I don't like it as much as the original, though. I just feel like the characters are more likable or more easy to connect to in the first film. And also with this one, the story is a little odd at times. So for that reason, I'm giving this movie a 3 out of 5. Now, if you did enjoy this movie, other films I recommend checking out are World War Z, the remake of The Crazies, Land of the Dead, and the remake of Night of the Living Dead. Now it's time to answer the trivia question from the beginning of this episode. What feature does Andy and his mother share? They both have heterochromia, which is a genetic disorder where one eye is a different color than the other. And at least for this film, their genetic distinction is something that apparently allows them to both be immune to the virus. Also, if you've never really paid attention, the answer to this question would have been revealed by the poster, as the character here on the cover does have heterochromia. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews. And of course, feel free to watch the trivia episode I did for the first film, and keep an eye out as I'm going to do one of my regular reviews for the new one.